Alright, welcome. So it's been requested to do a build video for Ganesh, the newest Guardian to join Smite, as in this recording anyway. Now before I continue on with the build, this series is aimed towards the newer players to Smite, or maybe you're new to Guardians or building a support way or style for a Guardian. So enough of that, let's get into building for Ganesh. Now actually one important thing, if you don't know a whole lot about Ganesh, I just want to cover his passive real quickly here. Anytime he gets the killing blow, this goes for a god, an enemy god, or minions, the nearest friendly god, one of your teammates, they're going to get the credit for the kill. Again, that goes for both you getting last hits on minions and god kills. So if you're trying to build an item that requires you to get kills for stacks, like a Book of Thoth or Warlock Sash or Doom Orb, you're not going to be getting those stacks unless if you're like solo lane Ganesh, or you're just really isolated from the rest of your team. That's the only real way you're going to be getting the kill credit for the most part. And you're going to be getting a whole lot of assist. So just kind of keep that in mind. You might not want to go into that Book of Thoth or Warlocks again, unless if you are solo lane Ganesh and you're just, no one's near you and you're getting all these kills. So that's about it. Now going into the actual build for Ganesh and talking about starter items first. If you're in a game mode that calls for a starter item, or it's more meta, I guess you can say, to build a start item, right? Like game modes outside of Arena. You can probably even get Watcher's Gift for Assault, maybe. And we're not going to talk about Rank Duel at all. But besides that, like Joust, Siege, Clash, whatever, Conquest, I would recommend going into the starter item called Watcher's Gift. Mostly if you're going, we're going to be covering a support build here, right? I'm not going to be covering a damage build, just covering a basic support build, since his playstyle, his kit more fits with that true support build or style, right? So Watcher's Gift, with this kind of ties in with his passive, right? You're not gonna be getting a whole lot of kills. Even if you try to use your one to like last hit minions along with, your allies or whatever, you'll be getting the assist anyway, so you can easily build up and make a lot of use out of that passive from Watcher's Gift. It's gonna allow you to sustain with the health and mana you get back per assist, and also bonus gold. So feel free to throw your one and not worry about, taking your teammate stacks. You'll be getting assist anyway. So for now, I just go into the Watcher's Gift. Now real quickly here, covering a, more of like a Conquest start. You see this sometimes as a support. They'll go into a Watcher's Gift, go into your boots of choice, CDR boots, tank boots, or traveler shoes, whatever. Let's just say CDR boots for now. You see this sometimes in the Conquest game mode, since the gold income is a little bit slower than other game modes. You sometimes see people pick up items that they serve as like a transition item. It's kind of temporary. You buy it for the early game because it's cheap and efficient, and then you go back and sell a late game for an actual item. In this sense, you might see supports do this. They might pick up Market of Vanguard like after boots, or maybe they go into like Gauntlet of Thebes and then pick up Market of Vanguard. Even though it has been nerfed, it used to have 150 health, it only has 100 now. It's only 800 gold, gives you HP, a little bit of physical protection. But if you're in a situation that this passive is really useful, damage taken is reduced by 5. So if you're fighting any gods that have a damage over time effect, where it's a lot of like small amounts of damage, this is going to mitigate a lot of that damage out. And you can also, can team fight if they have like a mini wave around them, like the enemy mini wave. Early game minions, they will shred you, and this will actually help against that as well. So that's what kind of Market of Vanguard serves as. So backing up here, this build, you can use it in pretty much any game mode, except Arena. You don't go into Watcher's Gift. I'll cover Arena after this. But for now, this is what I would use for a Clash, Joust, Siege mode, just casual game modes, right? So moving on from here, I play as a true support player, so this is personally what I do. Is for the most part, after I go into my boots of choice, which is mostly just CDR boots, I either go into Sovereignty, or I pick up the Gauntlet of Thebes. Gauntlet of Thebes, it's really good this season. Season 3 used to be a little bit different. Now it actually provides you and your allies 20 protection. Just kind of keep that in mind if you are new to Smite. If you see an item under the Aura category, that Aura bonus also applies to you. So you can see I have 89 physical protection and 53 magic protection. I pick this up and it goes up by 20 apiece, and this goes for the same for your allies. So I go ahead and pick up the Gauntlet of Thebes here. Again, sometimes I might go into a Sovereignty instead, but I would still get Gauntlet of Thebes later on. So for me, this is my core build, right? For me, is going into the CDR boots and going into these 3 Aura items. So that way, me and my allies, we're really tanky, so any team fights that we're involved in, I can ensure that nobody's just going to get instantly blown up, at least not as quickly, right? So if that Loki comes going for a squishy, they might have a better chance at surviving, since you're giving them 30 protections from Sovereignty and then 20 from Gauntlet of Thebes. So they have that 50 extra. Also with Ganesh, what's really cool about him, if your allies are close enough to you when you pop your 2, you also give your allies additional up to 60 physical protections. It's not both physical and magical, just physical. So you can give your allies a lot of protections as long as they're around you for those team fights or objective fights, wherever the case may be. Another thing is, you might want to be careful on not overcapping your physical protection, since you do gain so much from your 2. Granted, it is only for like 2 seconds here, and it has a decently lengthy cooldown. You can't be like spamming this all the time, of course. So might be careful on your physical protection side. Again, if you are new and you want to know if you're overcapping any stat, go to the scoreboard for PC, hold down tab, highlight over the stats, and the number in the brackets allows you to see what is the cap for that stat. As you can see, like for protections, it's 325, so you don't want to be overcapping that, if that makes sense. So, backing up here. Now for me, again, this is my core build for a true support build. Your support build might be different. Maybe you want to be a little bit more selfish and go into, let's say, a Hide of Urchin. If you are going to go into this item, be sure to get it either early on, or you can get it later, as long as you're on the winning team and you're getting all the kills and assists, or in this case, assist. And that way you can easily build up these stacks for this and make it useful. Or, maybe you go into your Breastplate of Valor. Be careful, I see this so much, is people going into CDR boots straight into your breastplate. While this is really good if you want a lot of cooldown reduction early on, the big thing about Breastplate of Valor, it offers you no HP, and if you fall behind with the start, you're going to have a really bad time. So if you do go into breastplate after boots, be sure to get into an HP item right afterwards, like let's say a Hallward Amulet. Of course, physical protection, you get a lot of it from Breastplate of Valor, and you're going to like the magic protection side, so it makes sense to go into a Hallward Amulet. So you can do something like that, or if you're going to go into the selfish support or tank route, then you can go into Bulwark of Hope if you wish, so you can go to that. But anyway, backing up to the core build that I go into, the Hallward Sovereignty combo along with the Gauntlet of Thebes. The last remaining items is all situational. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. I've done this intro a few times, but support building is pretty much the same for most Guardians building in that support style. You got your core items, and then the rest of the items are all situational. So here's where I want to cover these situational items. Like, let's say if you're having a hard time against hunters, like how do you deal with hunters as a support, right? You do have a few options here. You do have items like the Hydnomenian Lion. With this passive, it reflects a good amount of damage. The Hydnomenian Lion, however, I feel like you mostly just want to pick this up if you're fighting against gods that are critting you. So if it's like a Mercury, like an assassin that's building crit, or hunters going crits, this is going to reflect a lot of damage back if they land a crit on you, and that might make them just stop basic attacking you and they just back off. Or you could go into Midgardian Mail. It's, again, another situational item. It does lack in physical protection, but it gives you a lot of HP. But we're looking at is for the passive. So when hit with the basic attack, there's a chance to slow your enemy's movement and attack speed by 30 seconds. So not only is this useful against like a traditional physical hunter, it can also be useful against a magical god that goes into that attack speed style or very basic attack oriented, like, Freya, Kronos, whatever the case may be. Can be useful against that. And now those are your main physical protection items to deal with hunters, outside of just building a lot of just, physical protection. As far as dealing with healers and guys that regen a lot of HP, you could look towards an item called Pestilence. With the aura effect, it reduces enemy gods healing by 25%. If you could go into something else. You could go into Divine Ruin. It's not the easiest to really apply this. Actually, his one has a pretty, you could probably apply the Divine Ruin debuff fairly easily. Now, instead of 25% like Pestilence is, this is 40%, so it's a little bit more potent. If you can find a way to build this, like let's say if you have a really good lead and you have all the protections you need, you're not really getting blown up a whole lot, and you can afford to go into a offensive item like this, then you can go into that. But for the most part, to counter healers, you just go into the Pestilence, and you can also go into the relic called Cursed Ankh. So you can go into that to reduce all healing by a decent radius, right? I think it's, yeah, it covers it. Yeah, that's, you can go into that for your anti-healing if you want to as well. And that is pretty much it. You have some other situational items under the health tree, or you can go into attack speed. But this tree here, all these, you know, these daggers and blades and whatnot, all really good, cheap, and efficient utility items like Winged Blade. A lot of HP for a very low cost, CCR, attack speeds, whatever, movement speed's always good, but this passive can help you out if you're going against a team comp that is slowing you a lot. And they're kind of countering your aggressiveness, and you can go into Winged Blade. So if they slow you, this thing is going to proc, it's going to send you going faster, and you're going to be immune to that slow. You could go into Relic Dagger as well. If you're looking for more cooldown reduction is always really great on ability-based gods, and as well as this passive. So if you go into like a passive, like let's say Cursed Ankh, and you just need all the anti-healing you need, this is going to allow you to have a lower cooldown on your relics, like let's say Cursed Ankh, for example, and that way you can shut down healing a little bit more often if you elect to go into Relic Dagger. Another anti-healing item is Witchblade, but this is mostly for basic attacking. You're not going to be basic attacking a lot unless if you're doing like some type of troll build. And for the most part, that is it. Actually, one last thing, or a couple things I forgot to mention here. If you're looking for cooldown reduction, right? Because if you go like a build that I do here, where you go these, you know, core supportive items, you lack a lot of cooldown reduction outside of your CDR boots, even if you do go into that. So what would you do about cooldown reduction? Like I mentioned earlier, you could go into your Breastplate of Valor after boots. If you can get away with that, you're not falling behind, then that's great. You're already at 30%, and all you need is 10% more. But if you don't go to Breastplate of Valor, towards the end of the build, where normally it'd be like situational items, this is where you could go into the cooldown reduction items if you want to. Since mostly for the late game, there's gonna be a lot of team fights going, not a whole lot of, you know, laning phase or anything like that. So CDR, very important, right? So you could go into a Mantle of Discord if you want to. A lot of both physical and magic protection. 10% CDR, used to be 15%, now it's only 10%, but it is cheaper. You can go into Mantle of Discord. Another good item, you can go into Spirit Robe. It's basically kind of like a cheaper version of Mantle, except this is a little bit stronger if you're going against a team comp that is doing a lot of hard CCs on you. So if they're locking you down, giving you a lot of trouble, or you're trying to fight them inside your ulti, but they're just CCing you inside of your own ulti, this will help you mitigate more damage once you proc the passive. Again, 10% CDR. Some other good CDR options, Shoga's Kasari. I kind of like this item. It's not situational, so if you have teammates that can benefit from that bonus attack speed, then feel free to go into this. It's really cheap. Magic protection, MP5 is alright, but the CDR, 10% CDR, and the CCR, again, can help you not be locked down for so long, because Smite is full of CCs. So those are your main cooldown reduction items: Breastplate of Valor, Shoga's Kasari, Spirit Robe, Mantle of Discord. Just pick those up if you need the cooldown reduction. And I think that's pretty much it. You could go into a Gem of Isolation. The idea behind Gem of Isolation, you can kind of pick this up maybe like mid to late in your build, or if you have a really strong lead early and you're like in Clash or something crazy like that where we can snowball, then you can go into Gem of Isolation. But the idea behind Gem of Isolation, not so much for the power or the HP or anything, is mostly to apply another soft CC, and that is the 25% slow for 2 seconds. So if you don't want to really depend on your ulti for the slows, well, they can just stay inside of it. That kind of locks themselves down, but if they do leave your ulti, they do get slowed from 20% up to 40% as of now anyway. So if you don't want to depend on that for slow, you can apply it with your Turn of Fate, your 1. This can go through multiple enemies, so you can slow multiple enemies by 25% with the Gem of Isolation. And that can allow you to, you know, maybe chase them down a little bit, you know, throw out your 1, it reaches them, and you can easily just run at them and CC them with your 3, you know, kind of chase them down like that. And you can also stack the slow with your ulti, so if they walk out of your ulti, they can get slowed by the base 40% and then plus 25%, so they can be slowed by 65%, though I'm pretty sure there might be some diminishing returns at that high amount. However, that pretty much covers the build video. Don't want to make this too long, it's long enough as it is right now. Relics, real quickly here. Meditation got nerfed, so in a sense, if you are building a lot of HP, you used to scale off of your HP, so if you're a support or a warrior with a lot of HP, the heal from it was really good, Now, not so much. It's a little bit more friendlier, a little bit better for targets that are, you know, not building HP, like if you're squishy like a hunter or whatever, then it's fine. You might be able to still save people with it these days with its new scaling. So you could still go into meditation. You could, you know, still go into other supportive relics, maybe like if you want to, you know, sunder, so you can set up a kill, sunder them. That way, if your allies attack the same target, they're going to take more damage. Maybe Belt of Frenzy, this just came out this patch, back as a relic again. Maybe you could try it out. Shell, if you do buy it, I'd recommend getting the tier 2 version as soon as possible because it's a lot better. And that pretty much is it. You can go to a Phantom Veil if you're fighting against like an Odin or maybe even a Kraken, but mostly if you're fighting against an Odin that cages in people and they can't leap out, buy this for your allies so that way they can turn to a ghost and they can just kind of walk on out. Again, that's going to wrap it up for the build video. If you have any questions about support building, whatever, feel free to let me know. Whew, we covered a lot and a decent amount of time. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully it was helpful, again, for newer players out there, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.